Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Parrot TV, talking politics. We have a big show today. We're going to have a lot of topics today. We have a new police commissioner. We're going to have a new city council speaker. And you know what? We're going to be saying goodbye to our mayor and our Bronx Borough president, as well as some other topics today. So let me introduce I am Robert Press. I am the host of this show. My credentials include hosting the 2018 debate between Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Joe Crowley-Standon. I almost don't remember who he was, which propelled Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez into the U.S. Congress. My co-hosts are Anthony Rivieccio. Please introduce yourself, Anthony. Tell us a little about yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Professor Anthony Rivieccio. At the current moment, I'm getting more gray hair by the moment, being an associate professor of business and finance at Herbert A. Sleeman College. I am in the middle of finalizing grades for our estate planning class, and I intend to be teaching there next year. Feel free to join me. I am also a 30-year financial advisor, as well as the founder of the Northwest Bronx Democrat.
We also have as a co-host Mr. Dion Powell, a consultant, and you're a state committee person, aren't you, Dion? So why don't you introduce yourself?
Wrong again, buddy. Unfortunately, this is the only Robert rules I listen to. I'm County Committeeman Dion Powell of the 79th Assembly District. I'm also a consultant for minority-owned businesses, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, and more. And here we are today.
Gee, I'm sorry, Dion, if I gave you a promotion. But let's get into what's happening. Let's get into what's happening with our economy, Anthony. Anthony's our expert on Joe Biden and Bidenomics. So, Anthony, take it away. What's happening?
Robert, that's a good phrase. Bidenomics. I like that. There's so much to cover from an economy point of view. I feel like I almost need my own show. Hint, hint. Okay, to answer your question, I really don't know where to begin. We're finding out that the Build Back Better plan, regardless of how you feel about it, has basically been, quote, delayed. It will probably be eliminated because if they can't get it through this year, they definitely won't get it through next year. Inflation is definitely hovering at around 7-8% a year. There's some mixed reaction as to whether our economy is going forward or stagnant. The Federal Reserve, as many might have heard, is having what I call an inflation heart attack. They've decided to raise or make pronouncements where there's potentially up to 5 interest rate hikes within the next 2 years. So I can tell you many money managers have been discussing this in the last 24, 48 hours. And this is why you see a variety of ups and downs that have been happening with the stock market for the last day or two. So to answer your question in a nutshell, we don't know which way our economy is going.
Dion, any comments on Bidenomics?
Well, if the buddy professor doesn't know, how should I know? But I will say this. So far, I'm very happy with the Small Business Association with the idle loan and the $15,000 on top of that you don't have to pay back. That's right. I'm a good consultant, man. You raise your eyebrow any higher.
No, because I know exactly what you're referring to.
You know so much. You just said you didn't know anything, so it's my turn. So if you want your $15,000, come see Dion.
No. Let's be specific with the. Let's be specific. Wait a minute. No, Dion, Mr. Shyster. Let's be very specific as to what you're talking about. Let's not just throw out a government program, because I've gotten those phone calls all week long. Let's be very specific as to what you're talking about. You're talking about the Employee Retention Credit Program that just recently came out. And for lack of a better word, it's a backdoor scam. Now you can continue.
SBA EIDL loan plus the 15 advanced surplus supplement.
Okay, guys, let's get back to the show. Okay, I will say on Bidenomics, Anthony, gas prices by me have gone down. They went down 4 cents. Not that it's much. I filled up at the higher price at $3.43. It's now $3.39 a gallon by me. Okay, so is Bidenomics working? Oh, he's got another $1.50 to go before he can get there. Let's move on to midterm, as you said, Anthony, the midterm elections. And Gerson Barrera on New York One said normally about 25 seats go switch parties. And the Democrats are in control. He said they only have a few seats to lose, which would mean that Republicans would be in charge of both Congress and the state Senate after next year because Joe Biden's doing such a good job and Democrats are going to have to fight for their seats. Any comments, Dion?
Well, if you look at what you should know about Robert Sr., it seems as though crime and lean laws are going to turn everything red across the board here in the city and the state for next year, plus redistricting. So depending on even they draw those lines, people from Latino evangelicals to Black clergy people are all going to be voting red next year unless something drastic happens between now and June. But I predict it's only going to get worse.
Anthony?
I want to congratulate Dion on doing his homework. I presume he found the Ruben Diaz article that went as far as the New York Post this morning, pretty much indicating, even though it is a slightly biased article, because of course his thoughts are about his son, and no son or father is going through what he's currently going through. But I think he makes the absolute point that Democrats have been very soft on crime. And I use the word soft very nicely. Some people would use other words that I cannot repeat on television. So, Ruben Sr. has said, let's start looking at Republican policies. And I truly believe, as Dion has just indicated, that you're going to see across America, people wanting to get back to what I know the phrase you like, Mr. Press, called law and order.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And Ruben
Diaz. Something, gentlemen.
Okay, Dion.
Progressives. You're forgetting about the progressives went too far. The crybabies are here, so we need to wipe this.
Good. As you say, Anthony, Ruben Diaz Sr. was with Rob Astorino 4 years ago. And, it looks like he may be again. There's 3 good Republicans running for governor. You have Astorino, who was at the Alliance of Yemeni American Businesses at their opening of their new business center over on Bronxdale Avenue. You have Lee Zeldin, Congressman Lee Zeldin, who was at the Conservative Party Christmas event. And you have Andrew Giuliani, who was going on his father's name. So those are 3 top contenders for the Republican Party, and that should be a nice primary. But let's move on to, we said that Democrats aren't happy, you said, Dion. I'm going to touch on something I got from Jamal Bowman, and I'm going to make a comment on it. He said that he is unhappy, and it was 26 days, now it's 27 days, that hit the $1.7 trillion bill that was passed, that Anthony mentioned, was passed by Congress, sent to the Senate, and they are doing nothing with it. And as Anthony said, they may do nothing with it. Well, I'm going to comment on what Congressman Bowman said. When did he go down to the southern border? 3-4 months ago? I've asked him to explain his trip. He said, well, I found 20 people in a cell, and that was it. I want to know what else he found down there. I want to know what the conditions were, why those people were in the cell, and what the Border Patrol said to him. But it seems that Congressman Bowman doesn't know or doesn't care or doesn't want to tell the people how he spent their money, because that was taxpayers' money that sent them down there. All right. So, but then again, Congressman Bowman is going to be a thing of the past with redistricting, because it said that Adriano Espaillat's going to pick up Riverdale, and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman of AOC, will pick up Co-op City. So where is Congressman Bowman going to go? They're going to push him all the way up into Republican territory and say, goodbye, Jamal. Okay. Would either of you like to comment on that? No comments?
I'll only say this, because I think you went in different areas with that comment. I find it very hard to believe that Jamal Bowman went down to the border because it seems like he can't even find Riverdale.
He's given up his office that Elliot Engel had in Riverdale because he knows he's losing Riverdale, Tony.
So I find it very hard to believe that he went to the border if he can't find the west side of the Bronx.
Dion?
I think Congressman Bowman is getting bad advice from the progressives that put him in power in the first place. And that's the problem when you surround yourself in that kind of echo chamber and don't have people like myself, not saying me personally, but who have the ability to actually see through this kind of political fog and decision making and AOC coattail chasing kind of deal.
Okay, we will now go to the city level. And we know that Police Commissioner Shea is gone. We know that Rodney Harrison, the chief of detectives, is going to be in charge of the Suffolk County Police Department. And we will be getting a new police commissioner here in the city, a woman named Keechant Sewell, who is a chief of detectives at Nassau County Police Department, where there is an investigation going on about something about what officers have done that was not really kosher, if everybody knows what the word kosher is. I'm going to let my co-host comment first before I say anything. Let's go, Dion. Would you like to comment about our first?
I know you're going to try to still watch this, Fresh. You ready for it? I believe that we're playing a nice game of law enforcement musical chairs. Payday and resume building resumes and paydays for everybody all around. So we'll see what law enforcement agencies internationally and continentally will be going on from different leadership capacities, switching of hats around the board. I'll go to Dr. Regulio.
Well, let's see if Anthony has the right thing that I'm thinking of. Yeah. Go ahead, Anthony.
I think that the events of the last 72 hours answers the question. Eric Adams wants to be in control of the system. So he found someone to be a puppet. So Mr. Philip Banks, who will be the liaison between the two, will be in charge. The fact that Eric Adams has already announced that he is going to make solitary confinement one of the get-goes from day one indicates who will really be in charge of the system.
Anthony, you hit it right on the head. All right. I can go back to Mayor Bloomberg when he had his chancellor put in. He had, I forgot the name already, as his education deputy mayor. And that was the person who was really running the Board of Ed. It was David Walcott. All right. And it didn't matter who the chancellor was, David Walcott. And David Walcott finally became the chancellor. And I said to David, you finally came out of the closet, meaning that he was in the closet as the chancellor. No, Dion, not what you think. Okay. But this is what happens when you get a mayor who wants power. They want it top down. All right. I hope that this woman who did, Nassau County really didn't have a crime problem. The few bad areas, there was one in Brentwood, one in, Hempstead. But Nassau County was relatively crime-free. But she's not in Nassau anymore. If you remember The Wizard of Oz, you're not in Kansas anymore. So I think, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope she works out well. And I hope she is there for the whole 4 years of the Adams administration. And I hope she is not a puppet. Any further talk about our new police commissioner? You getting gas, Dion?
That's a reflush from what we're talking about right now. I just hope that with this new incoming police commissioner, and I can say this, gentlemen, because I know you're hesitant to, that's black, and our mayor, that's black, and our public advocate, that's black, and our Senate Majority Leader, who's black, and our Assembly Speaker, who's black, and our District Attorney, who's black. I hope everything will turn out great in 2022 when it comes to crime, safety, and overall quality of life. Am I right, gentlemen? Cheers up.
Yeah.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Powell. However, the only reason why I take a side when you use the name or the word black 6-7 times is because you failed to note that the one that was qualified but didn't want to be a puppet that everyone agreed to was Detective Carmen Best from California, who's also black.
Well,
Philly, the homegirl from Philly. What about her? Who's also
Anthony, or rather Dion, let me answer you, okay? I was a former parent leader all the way up to the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council. And the city is a minority district, okay? Our school district, which is New York City, is a minority district. And I looked at the children. I did not look at white, black, brown, green, red. I looked at a child as a bright young future, hopeful that that child would make it. Dion, please put your props down, okay? I looked at every child equal, okay? And that's the way it should be. We should not be looking at people's color. We should be looking at their resumes, and they should be all equal and hope that they can do the job. All right?
Dion, you have an acid reflux.
God damn it. I'm mixing so many concoctions together.
Let's move on to the next subject, guys. The city council speaker. Who do we think the city council speaker will be? Since it was supposed to be a white woman, Dion, who thought she was going to have it, being that she was the Manhattan Borough president. So who do you think is going to be the next speaker, Dion?
I hope we keep breaking the barriers. I hope it's Adrian Adams, another black woman, because that way everything will be nice and black and controlled. That way the world, as we know, will be a much better place. Right, Reverend Rivieccio?
Anthony?
Well, let me answer both questions. I'll start with yours first, Robert. I still think it's actually up in the air, although Miss Adams does look like the favorite. If you just look at the Bronx votes, although, of course, it's just one borough, I think Kevin Riley still has a lot of work to do in galvanizing his consortium to vote for Adams. Obviously, Mr. Oswald Felix has already picked Mr. Moya. The rest have, as of yesterday, declared themselves to be undecided. There are deals going on as we speak, and yes, Miss Adams seems to be the favorite. In regards to Mr. Powell's statement, Mr. Powell, I don't know how to respond to that because I didn't think you of all people would want to live in a control-based society. But I guess I learn things every day.
Well, to update you, Anthony, it was reported last night that the Bronx and Queens machines are backing Miss Adams. So she has at least 26 votes or more to become the speaker. And it looks like Francisco Moya will not be the speaker. It will be Adams. To answer Dion, okay. Dion, at one time, all of these people were white, and there was no place to go but to bring in the minority people. Then you had, for instance, our borough was run by Hispanics. Now we have many people in charge who are black. There's only one place to go, and that's down to get other people in.
Yeah, it sounds even more racist, buddy. Let me think about it.
No, it's not racist. It's bringing Dominicans. Dion, right now, you should be aware that the Dominican population is growing in the Bronx. And it looks like the Dominicans are going to be the next major power source in the Bronx. Adriano Espiat is grooming his people. He's got 2 council members. He's got an assembly member. And he's going to have a nice part of the Bronx. He'll have almost 1/3 of the Bronx. And he's going to be one of the next power brokers.
That's why I'm drinking these nice
Latino. Keep putting up your milk, Dion. Are you milking yourself?
No, I'm not.
But
man.
that's besides the point. I don't want to get into that. Dion, just put your props down. Or Mr. Producer, we'll just cut him off. All right?
We've heard the guy. The Dominicans are taking over. Long story short, the Dominicans are taking over. So tell us more about that wise one.
I'm just telling you.
Well, wait a minute, guys. First of all, the wise one is not 100% correct. I wouldn't give Adriano that much credit. I think it's well known that even though he has the ear of Mr. Oswald Felix, I would not say that he has the total ear of Ms. Sanchez, who also has the ear of the Northwest Bronx Democrats. So I would not give Adriano that much play. However, to get back to the original part of the conversation, I find it very ironic that both of you would say Adriano is growing in the Bronx, while it looks like Dion is moving more up to the north.
Well, I can't comment on Dion moving up to the north.
I didn't even say anything.
Well, I can. Doesn't Dion want to live with his own people?
Oh my God, this is going great.
Don't you want to live with your own people?
I
You've
didn't
been
say
such
it,
an
Dion.
advocate for
Point
them.
of order.
Oh, point of order. Okay, all right.
No
You
comment,
want to be
Dion.
an advocate and not live there, like the BLM leader, right? That advocates for Black Lives Matter while she's buying and flipping real estate properties, right? You mean you want to be like that?
Who's that? What's a BML? What's that?
Yeah, well, that's true. You live up north now, so you may not know what those acronyms are. You're absolutely right. But don't worry, because you got people like our state assemblywoman, Natalia Fernandez, that will explain to you that BLM stands for Black Lives Matter.
Oh my God.
We'll get into Natalia Fernandez a little later, Anthony. I have a surprise.
Let's talk about Omicron. How about that? Let's talk about how no one can get a COVID test of late because it's so crowded. Let's talk about how the vaccinated are spreading Omicron to the unvaccinated and blaming them. How about that? Let's talk about how Moderna.
We can talk about that. I have no problem about that. That's why I'm the only one wearing a mask and you're not. That's why these vaccinations don't work and no one wants to say it. As I said to Mr. Press off the air earlier today, he says to me, Robert says to me, oh, well, you know, Bill de Blasio's got a good case when he runs for governor. He says that he can say 80-90% of New York City is vaccinated. So, of course, my response is, well, then all that shows is that the vaccinations don't work.
Well, let's get back to our producers put up our new Department of Corrections Commissioner, Louis Molina. Any comments on Mr. Molina? Because I believe Anthony said it already, that the mayor has said we're going back to solitary confinement. And it looks like the mayor is going to be running the police department, the Department of Corrections. I mean, Anthony is probably going to be right. He's going to be a Mike Bloomberg, top down. Do as I say or you're gone. Dion, do you think that's right?
No, you see, last time you called me first. I'm gonna let the professor over here go before me, and I'll
I like you, Dion. That's why I'm calling you first. I want to hear your opinion first.
Yeah, it's coming out the other end now, Fred.
Dion, I could put up something too.
Bagel chips.
I love the bread. Those bagel cinnamon chips are good. Those cinnamon.
All right. If anybody needs a will, just give me a call. There you go. Well, props. Oh, good.
You guys should be drinking vitamin water also. It's healthy.
Speaking of which,
vitamin water. It's called coffee.
In all seriousness, one of the questions I know I would have asked Eric Adams at any forum is this, and hopefully it'll come out. My question to Mr. Eric Adams is, what version of the vaccine did you take and why? Because I find it very interesting that he would take a vaccine after he came to the Bronx preaching the holistic medicine and how vaccines were evil. That's the one thing I would like to know. So, Press, why don't you get to it? Ask Eric Adams, elect, what vaccine did he take and why?
Well, wait, that's a good one, Dion. But you said you want to ask him. So now you want me to ask him? That means you have no power. I'm the one with all the power.
Well, excuse me while I whip this out. Okay, Press, why don't you let me borrow your shield and credentials? I'll ask him the tough questions.
But it's got a picture of me on it. You don't look like me. Now, we had a birthday that just happened this week. It was a veteran political person in office. Anthony, it's one of Anthony's favorite people. I love him too. Anthony, why don't you tell us who just had a birthday? He turned 85. He's in the New York State Assembly. And if our producer would put the picture of him up. No, that's not the one. No, not that. There you go. Nope, you had it. There you go. Anthony, let's wish him a happy birthday. Go ahead.
Assemblyman Jose Rivera, or customly known on our Facebook page as the Admiral, Jose Rivera, is now 85 years young. He's now spent 6 decades in electoral office in various capacities, city council person, state legislator, and we all wish him both a happy birthday, Merry Christmas, and the best of health more than anything else.
This picture is of him rushing into his office because he wanted to be there on time. And of course, you see he's wearing a face mask, so he's not worried. Well, actually, he's protecting himself. Dion, would you like to comment or say happy birthday to Jose Rivera?
Cumpleaños feliz, Admiral. But did you know that that flag that he's wearing as a mask is not his flag? That's the Dominican flag. What flag should he be wearing, Mr. Producer?
I would think since he's Puerto Rican, it would be the Puerto Rican flag.
I don't know. And he's actually missing something. He's holding a cell phone in his hand, but normally he's known for having a regular camera. So where's his camera?
That's his camera.
Let me answer. Let me just, because I think, just for clarification for the assemblyman's sake. Dion is right. That is a mask of the Dominican flag. And I can tell you the reason for that is because in regards to civil rights violations that take place there, that I'll let the Admiral talk about. He's always been supportive of the Republic, and I'll just leave it like that. But that is the Dominican flag. You're absolutely right.
We also had a comment by Mr. Kevin Diola. He said, Robert Press, where's your shield? He wants to know. Kevin Diola writes in, Robert Press, where are your credentials?
Where's what?
Shout out to
Mr. Ride on the Sidewalk, Kevin Diola, with his bicycle?
Kevin Diola.
Because the law states that anyone over 13 is not allowed to ride on the sidewalk with a bicycle, moped. And that's why these e-scooters have a little tag on them, no riding on the sidewalk, because they are supposed to be ridden on the street. And while we're talking about e-scooters, how do you think the program is going, Anthony? I know you have City Bike by you. And Dion, well, you have nothing. No, you have City Bike by you also. Although since you were in the Bronx in Morris Park, there's e-scooters in Morris Park, so you had the best of both. Which do you prefer, Dion, e-scooters or city bikes?
Neither, nor. They're literally on the floor. There's more of them on the floor now than rats in the streets. Even the rats are tired of jumping over them. So how about that?
Anthony, what's your favorite?
My favorite?
E-scooters or city bikes?
Well, the only thing I'll say about both programs is that it allows wonderful people like the person you're talking about, Mr. Kevin Diola, and many wonderful people that are also on our Northwest Bronx Facebook page by the name of Miss Susan Brenner, to ride together as they do, because bicyclists, like to ride together. And I always get to see that wonderful couple at least once a week, once every 2 weeks. And of course, bicycling is supposedly good for the health. The only simple problem is that the Bronx is getting 20-30% bigger, and everything else is getting bigger except for the sidewalk and the roads. So there's no room.
The last picture, Mr. Producer, we're going to go into that, of the mayor. There you go. Hold that picture up. I'm just going to give you this. This is my comment. Nope. My comment about e-scooters. We're having a problem with our producer, I see, getting the right photo up. My opinion on the e-scooters and city bikes are, now I can go to the store, I'm about 5 blocks away from Morris Park Avenue with all the stores. I can walk another few blocks, or I can ride an e-scooter. I don't have City Bike by me, but the bicycle would give me an option of a little bit of exercise, pedaling, and I prefer to walk rather than take the e-scooter. Not only do I get the exercise, but let's just remember the Bronx is 62nd, pardon me, the last borough in health. And I don't want to add to that. I want to try and make it 61, then to 60. So I'm going to walk and exercise that way to try and lose weight. And Dion bringing out his seltzer. You want to inflate yourself again, Dion? Go ahead. There's nothing better than walking for the people of the Bronx. Riding a bicycle comes second, but using an e-scooter is lousy. Now, let's move on to our next subject. The mayor and our beloved Bronx Borough President will be leaving us very soon. They have, about 16 days left till the end of the year, and that the mayor will be dropping the ball. He'll be pushing the button, I should say. Leave this one up. Leave the two of them, Mr. Producer. The mayor will be dropping the ball. Let's go back to the other one with the mayor in it. There you go. Because let's make our parting comments to the mayor right now. I think Bill de Blasio was a good man. He was corrupted by the power. And it seems that even our Bronx Borough president, who started out to be a very good man, got corrupted by the power and just became a puppet of the Bronx Democratic County machine. And I could say that as a fact. I'll tell you a little bit later, but let's hear your opinions, guys. Anthony, let's hear your opinion first of our mayor and our borough president, now that they're leaving. How did they do, both of them?
Oh, you're asking me for an overall 12-year grade?
Yep.
On both of them.
What's that?
On both of them.
Well, do it separately. The mayor, then the borough president.
Right, no, I would.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay.
And explain why you give that grade.
I think the only thing that Bill de Blasio did for the city that was probably a wonderful thing is that he was able to expand education, not going up, but of course going down. He created the pre-K program, which from what I've heard is turning out to be a wonderful program. And congratulations to him doing that. Everything else has been a travesty. Anywhere from crime, which is now, showing its heels, to housing, which is now showing its heels. Not now, but 10, 20 years from now, when we see our transformance of not just the Bronx, but the whole city as a whole, it will have one name on it, Bill de Blasio.
And Dion? Well, wait a minute, Anthony, you forgot our borough president, so let's
our
hear
borough president. Well, you know what? I got to give the borough president the same exact grade. He helped the mayor, put in pre-K programs in the Bronx, which I understand many have done well. And on the other side of the coin, he's helped the mayor get through zoning variances, of course, including in our area, which is now transforming all of the Bronx, not just the North Bronx, but of course the South Bronx. Go down to 138th Street today and see if you can get an affordable apartment.
Oh, you mean those 5 big buildings going up, or 6 big buildings down there?
Yeah, the ones that I believe now were listed for about $2,500 for a 2-bedroom, something like $1,800 for a 1-bedroom.
Well, Anthony, that's why there were buildings being built by you, those big buildings, because they're regentrifying the South Bronx, moving the people up to your area.
Well, if you're going to mention our area, then I think, again, as I shared with Dion earlier, you should tell the audience the whole scope of it. And that's why I blame Bill de Blasio and all Mayor Borough President Diaz was just a messenger boy. Our area, when we saw it coming, I personally and our organization, and we got a lot of organizations and a lot of legislators, including Assemblyman Rivera, that came and testified about what I created for the down zoning program. And within a span of 6 months, we got it approved on Community Board 7. I had to force it to our city council member, who was Mr. Andrew Cohen at the time, to bring it to the mayor, which he did. And the mayor, of course, denied it. The mayor, of course, blamed it on the City Planning Commission. But of course, who runs the City Planning Commission? So at the end of the day, as I said earlier, 10, 20 years from now, when we see the transformance of all of our city, it will be under the name of Bill de Blasio. So the same grade I give the mayor, I could only give to the borough president. Education, I see it as a B+, A-. Everything else, F.
Well, there's one more question for you, Anthony, because the Kingsbridge Armory was supposed to be redeveloped. There were plans that came in, and the borough president said, I don't want that original plan, shops in the Armory, because it will kill Kingsbridge Road and Fordham Road. And the plan that most people don't know was the idea so that the developer friend of Mayor Bloomberg at the time could build those big towers over there. All right. But Anthony, it was public advocate Bill de Blasio who was against the Kingsbridge Armory redevelopment. So that's 12 years ago. So what's happened in 12 years to the Kingsbridge Armory? Have the ice skating rinks opened up that Borough President Diaz wanted, or is it still empty and nothing happening?
Well, let me answer that two ways, and I'm going to be brief. Was it a borough president responsibility? Absolutely. He even put it on his own lap. So that's why I say it was a borough president responsibility, because he put it on his own lap. At the end of the day, today, it is not a city responsibility. Today, it is now a state responsibility. Why? Long story, except to say that it ain't happening anytime soon.
Anthony, why don't you go into the story? We have
all
a few
this
minutes.
kitty that they needed, they only got 10% of all that money. And 10%, the whole 10% is a loan from New York State, who is now dictating the policies if they want more money.
So what does the community really want in the Kingsbridge Armory, Anthony?
You know, today that's a really hard question to answer, because you're right, Bob. This has been a 25-year, 3-decade story where interests have changed along the way. I mean, people went from retail to schools to multi-centers to ice skating rings, everybody claiming this is what the community wants. Being on the ground, I personally don't hear too much advocacy for an ice skating ring. But I do think, and that's a very good point that you make, I do think that maybe we should have a new community survey to find out that, since we're talking 25 years later, right, and a whole generation of people have moved in as well as moved out, maybe we should have a new survey.
Because it originally started on...
Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host, and I've got exciting news for you. Last anthology, Series 1, The Literary Parrot, did such a great job. We wanted to continue to provide this community service to our viewers and to our contributors to the program. So please get up and get a copy immediately. You know, if you're in this book, you want to get a copy. If you're not in the book, you want to get a copy and see what we're doing. You want to be excited with us. We want you on this program, and we hope to see you sometime soon on The Literary Parrot. You have to get your hands on this copy. It's amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful anthology meant just for you. Our past guests have been invited back to contribute yet again to this Series 2. We do this quarterly anthology. We will be doing this after our 200 episode milestone. As of this last quarter, we reached 200 episodes, and past that, get up and get a copy immediately. This is the only TV show on earth for creative writers, and our guests are amazing. They're also community activists building from the ground up. This program is for everybody out there who is a creative mind. Order several copies if you can, and donate to local libraries. Give them to your friends, cousins, fans, supporters, anybody that you think loves poetry. And it's not just poetry in this book. Remember, this is creative mind. So we have prose, fiction, short stories, essays, artwork, anything you can think of, artistically creative, photographs. Everything in this book is packed. It is packed. It is just absolutely packed. If you want to get your hands on it now,
Okay, welcome back. We had a little commercial for one of our other shows on Parrot TV. So let's go back to the Armory. And yes, Dion, I will bring you in once in about 30 seconds, once Anthony answers the final question. As I was stating, it started under Councilman Izzy Ruiz back in the 1990s, who got a new roof on the Armory. Then it was tossed into Adolfo Carrion, who was the councilman, and he left. And then Fernando Cabrera had it for 12 years, and now it's in Parina Sanchez's hands. And Anthony, you said the contact with her, that she's she's very friendly with Northwest Bronx Democrats who endorsed her and worked on her campaign. So what is Ms. Sanchez, or what would you advise Ms. Sanchez to do with the Armory? And then we'll go to Dion.
Actually, just, you know what, Bob? I'm going to tell Ms. Sanchez it was through this conversation. That's going to be my answer to her, that before she commits to anything, she should put together a new community survey, because as I've indicated and as you've indicated, this has been a 3 to 4 decade question. Okay,
Dion, now it's your time. Tell us what you want about the Armory, about the mayor or borough president.
All right, I'm going to start with the Armory. I'll say this, as I said then, that Kingsbridge Armory is going to be a missed opportunity for a lot of things. But one thing it should not have been is an ice skating rink, and that was a smack in the community's face. So as long as it's not an ice skating rink at this point and they're going back to square one, I'm okay. So I'm going to start with de Blasio now. De Blasio actually did a couple of good things and the bad things. I'll give him a D+ for Dion. First thing is that he's proven that the office of the public advocate can be very instrumental politically in advancing to the mayor, and other offices. But he hasn't broken the curse of the mayor's always being a dead-end political job. You know what I mean? His wife in the Thrive program, good intentions for the mental hygiene situation, which I'm a part of. But still, those good intentions turned out to be what I thought it was on paper when it first came out with her daughter, a payday and a resume builder. De Blasio, with mayoral control of schools, when he went up against King Cuomo, actually raised a lot of eyebrows to see who really had the pure power here amongst these paisanos going at it. So it's very interesting to see the governor squash him off at every turn. Now let's go to Ruben Cito. Ruben Cito, he did a great branding here in the Bronx, I must say. He painted the Bronx in the most positive light here, locally, nationally, internationally. However, the dark underbelly of that is that all the real estate things that he and some other people have claimed to be against actually are still spewing and taking over. Shelters are up, supportive housing is up. A lot of these lands and properties that should be going to the community through ownership is actually being bought out. And now they talk one way against big real estate, but they also take money from real estate. So if you look at the numbers, let's say Campaign Finance Board, nyccfb.info, you see, wait a minute, you said you're against big real estate, but you're taking money from real estate. Again, Ruben Cito, another missed opportunity. He should have been the mayor at this point, but for whatever reasons, he's dropped out the race. However, we know that politics is the Hollywood for the ugly, a very addictive lifestyle. And we can see here and there that he may be trying to either make a king or become influential long-term in the Huku administration, probably. But de Blasio's future politically, up in the air. But if he's smart, he will run for governor and ruffle some feathers and make Huku spend some money. That way he stays relevant for whatever debacle that might happenstance he can fall ass backwards into.
I personally believe what's going to be the most ironic about this whole thing is that if he runs for governor, he has just been labeled by the public advocate's office for the second year in a row as the worst landlord of New York City. So he's going to go upstate to run for governor, now being labeled for the second year in a row the worst landlord as he's building housing, right, in New York City. What idiot did we put there for 12 years? And don't include me in that, because I supported, endorsed, and still endorse Bill Thompson.
I voted for his son.
A black man.
Shout out to Richard Lamar. Richard Lamar.
Let me correct Anthony. De Blasio was only in for 8 years, not 12. That was Bloomberg who did that. Okay.
Who did what? Did what?
Bloomberg he was mayor for 12 years, not
right.
De Blasio.
Right.
De Blasio was only 8. And he did achieve his goal of 200,000 units of affordable housing, whether it be new housing or refurbished housing. The only thing that he's done a lousy job. I give him a D minus, de Blasio. Okay, because the Bronx has 18% of the population of the city of New York. We have 37% and that's from Bill de Blasio 2 years ago. So who knows? We're probably at 40% now of the homeless population. And when he was at an event with Carl Hastie and others, Jamal Bailey, our now county leader, de Blasio said this was January of his 7th year. It's time to stop dumping on the Bronx. So, I mean, he's really getting near the F, okay? And as far as our borough president, why hasn't he said anything about all this homeless population? Why hasn't Ruben Diaz Jr. said, hey, these people couldn't all come from the Bronx. They came from Brooklyn, they came from Queens, and it was well documented. And de Blasio, when I asked him, even said it. Yes, we've done that. We sent them from other boroughs because that's where the housing was available. But we're going to stop that, and he didn't. Okay? So there's much more about Ruben. And if Mr. Producer would put up the next picture of Mr. Diaz, it is Ruben Diaz Jr. in the park cleaning up. Okay? Mr. Producer, can you switch the photos? There you go. This is what I think will be Ruben Diaz Jr.'s next job. And this is what it should be, working for the Parks Department, cleaning up the garbage. Because I think that Ruben Diaz Jr. did a disservice to Community Board 11. After 6 years on Community Board 8, being vice chair of 2 committees and chair of 1 committee, I get a letter that says, I'm sorry, I can't put you on Community Board 11.
Here we go.
Because there were 10 vacancies, and I filled them with 10 people, who some of them never attended.
The Robert Preston play
as a member of Community Board 11. So I give Ruben Diaz Jr. an F. All right. Anybody have anything to say about that? Dion?
I must say that this show sometimes turns into your grievances based on all the political backlash you get. So hopefully all this venting will help you. But it looks like Rubicito and de Blasio, if they teamed up, like in the previous picture, they both will have a bright political future if they bring you inside their circle, right?
By the way, Dion, that picture was taken in May of this year. And there in the back of them are about 300 people, half of which were wearing masks and half weren't.
Wait a minute, is that your car right there? I think that's your car. No wonder I spy. That's his car, right?
Where?
In the back, right there with their little.
No, it's not.
With the binoculars, those binoculars.
No. So these are hypocrites, actually, de Blasio and Ruben Diaz Jr. for telling people to get vaccinated, which they did. Bill de Blasio took the Johnson & Johnson. So I don't know how these. Okay, let's stop here, Mr. Producer. Okay. Anthony wanted to talk about our assemblywoman. We're both in the 80th Assembly District, which Dion Powell has spent most of his time the last year in, on Morris Park Avenue. No, let's go back to the other one, Mr. Producer, that one. This is a picture of Councilman Rafael Salamanca when he was in the race for borough president. This is Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez, who was also running for borough president. That is, in the middle is Councilman Andrew Cohen before he became Judge Andrew Cohen. What Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez is, what are you doing in my district? She's saying Rafael Salamanca. It was a school giveaway of school bags, and then Assemblyman Dinowitz was given a box of supplies which said compliments of Councilman Rafael Salamanca. Now, if we can go to the next picture, Mr. Producer. So Councilman Salamanca and Councilman Cohen said, this is, not your district. And Mr. Producer, can we go to the next slide? Okay, here she is complaining to Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz because they said, go see Assemblyman Dinowitz. And what Assemblyman Dinowitz, can we go back to it? Well, what Assemblyman Dinowitz was doing was saying, oh, no, you're in the 81st Assembly District. This is my district. Your district is 2 blocks to the right, 2 blocks to the left, and 2 blocks over there. You're in my district right now. All right, so that's the problem. These assembly members don't know their districts. They don't know where because, and this is from the gerrymandering. And Anthony, I want you to go on about the gerrymandering of the 80th Assembly District, because your part of town has really been gerrymandered of the 80th.
No, you actually bring up a very sad point. Yeah, they are both in what we call in that neck of the woods the slithery part, because depending on which side of the block that you're on, you could be in either the 80th or the 81st. I want to first, in full disclosure, say that our organization was co-sponsor of that event. So I try to let everybody know ahead of time, because these questions actually came up even before that event. The only one that seemed to have been out of sync was Ms. Fernandez, because where they are is in the 81st Assembly District. A very small piece, maybe 15–20% of the district is in the 81st, what we call lovingly the Montefiore section.
Right.
And yes, and Miss Fernandez, I wasn't there when that picture was taken, but if that's what she said, then she was inaccurate.
The site is around the corner from the Marshall Montefiore Community Center, which is part of the Montefiore complex, Montefiore Hospital complex on East 210th Street that runs through to Gun Hill Road. And Jeffrey Dinowitz has the community center, I believe. I don't know if and he may have the hospital and North Central Bronx, but I don't know for sure, because again, the line will probably change this coming next year.
As of now, he does have Montefiore. He does not have North Central Bronx.
Okay. Dion, would you like to comment on that big giveaway and the knowledge of Anthony and mine, Assemblywoman of her district?
Well, like I was trying to be your Al Roker as always, this is a map of the Bronx here. So in this area of the yellow, over here to this pink area, this is the Italian Fernandez's little district. Over here to Norwood, through Morris Park.
You can't see the map that well, Dion. Okay, because it's in the background. Like the
long story short, you guys have a lot of work to do to get together here. This nice area of the Bronx, as you can clearly see from our meteorology. So far, there's going to be a crowded field next year for her seat. And aren't you running for district leader, Mr. Press?
I was about to disclose that.
I'm sorry I jumped the gun. Go ahead, Mr. Press. Expose yourself like last time. Come on, disclose yourself and expose yourself, okay?
Yes, Dion. Well, are you running for anything, Dion, next year?
I'll run for state committee. I don't know. I'll run
state
for state
committee?
I'm doing what people. I'm following the script. I'm going step.
Okay, so step. Dion has announced that he's running for state committee. Seeing the problems that we have in our district, that our Assemblywoman does not work with her district leaders, and they both ran for higher office, and I gave Mr. Marco Sierra. He asked me, I need a female district leader. I suggested Irene Estrada to him, who received the most votes of any candidate in the last election for the district leaders. I like Irene Estrada. I've announced that I plan to run for district leader. I hope that I will. I really don't want to run for district leader, but the Assemblywoman Fernandez is being given a person by the Bronx Democratic County Organization to run so they can endorse Jamal Bailey for re-election. I am undecided on whether I will endorse Jamal Bailey for re-election or try and put someone up against Jamal Bailey for county leader. I mean, I would love to see Jose Rivera back as county leader, but I've already spoken to him. He says, no, put someone else up if you're going to do that. And we have problems here in the 80th Assembly District because of that. The district leaders should be told where our Assemblywoman is, and the job of a district leader is to assist, one of them, I should say, is to assist the assembly member, be it a man or a woman, in their jobs. And I've been doing that as a media person. I've been going around the district as well as the Bronx and seeing what the problems are. And I know what the problems are.
We got a question here. Mr. Press, Who is the current male district leader of that district?
Your friend Marco Sierra, who ran for city council in the 11th council district after saying, oh, it's a majority minority district and someone like you shouldn't be running there. Okay. And Mr. Sierra got 317 votes. 25 years ago, I ran against Jeffrey Dinowitz in that same area and received almost twice as many votes. So that's,
gentlemen.
Why don't you tell us how many votes you got in his own area?
Gentlemen, although I'm not going to dispute what either one of you is saying, let me again remind you of one of the two clubs in the 80th Assembly District. Of course, our club being what we call the West Side part of the district. If we're talking the 80th Assembly District, we cannot, as I've always said, look at it as a top-down district. It is gladly and sadly a East and West Side district. The history of that being too long for the rest of the show. So that's the bottom line.
Right.
The bottom line is that we had an event last night, and for all this crowded spiel that Mr. Dion believes is taking place, including you, Mr. Press, no one except Natalia Fernandez showed up. So, of course, as here on the West Side, as we always do, we have to fight for our rights because the East Side, which, yes, mathematically represents the majority of the district, right, will do as they've done for the last 30, 40 years, ignore the West Side.
Well,
But
that's going to
as
change,
we
Anthony.
now know today, because of Northwest Bronx Democrats, we are what is lovingly called the wild card. So if everyone, this crowded field Mr. Dion talks about, as Mr. Press has made his pronouncements, if everybody wants to ignore the West Side, well, Anthony, as we always do,
okay, Anthony,
we
let me
have
just say
our
something,
own
Anthony.
slate
Anthony,
that we might be pronouncing in the next couple of weeks.
All right, Anthony.
If the citizenry
okay, we have 2 minutes left, Anthony.
Themselves, because
Anthony, we have 2 minutes
organization has membership in the 80th Assembly District,
Anthony,
for an average of 25 years.
Okay, Anthony,
not
Mr.
the
Producer,
2-3
can you
years, Robert, that you moved in, and not the 6 months that Dion moved in.
Okay, Anthony, can I talk? And
Absolutely.
Last week, I exposed a stunt by the district manager of Community Board 7, trying to put the county candidate for the 80th Assembly District, male district leader, up on stage when he didn't belong there. All right. He was neither a member of Community Board 7 nor an elected official. And the answer we're receiving is, oh, well, he is running for male district leader. So in that case, I was at the event too. I should have been up there instead of hearing from the district manager. Are you harassing me? When I asked her if he was up there, who he was. And she said, I don't want you here. I want you to leave or I'm going to call the police. And I've made a complaint to the borough president's office. And obviously, Borough President Dunsel, as we know from Star Trek what Dunsel means, it means a borough president who has no power and is dead, basically. All right. Our borough president has done nothing to discipline the district manager for her political play. And it appears that he is only going to say, yes, I approve of it, because Ruben Diaz Jr. is nothing but a county boy. And I was kicked off Community Board 8 because I didn't support Rafael Salamanca. I supported John Perez in the special election in 2017 for the 17th Council District. All right. Now, let's hear something. Go ahead, guys. All right. And since that day.
Dion, go ahead, Dion.
Hold on, wait a minute. There's more, Anthony. The next night, I saw him at an event. And this is what Ruben Diaz said to me when I asked him why he did it. And I had to tell him, I know why. And he goes, you were a bad boy, Bob. And he is nothing but a political whore, Ruben Diaz Jr., a county mountie. Anything that county says to him, because there were two county people, Benny Katea, who apologized to me, and John Sicaro Jr., who I got even with and got rid of him as a district leader and put in Marco Sierra. And now I got to kill the monster I put in. Go ahead, guys. The rest of the show is yours.
Wow, a county mountie, man. What other things are you going to say as you expose yourself, buddy? What a day. So,
Dion, I'm not.
Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host, and I've got exciting news for you. Last anthology, Series 1, The Literary Parrot, did such a great job. We wanted to continue to provide this community service to our viewers and to our contributors to the program. So please get up and get a copy immediately. You know, if you're in this book, you want to get a copy. If you're not in the book, you want to get a copy and see what we're doing. You want to be excited with us. We want you on this program, and we hope to see you sometime soon on The Literary Parrot. You have to get your hands on this copy. It's amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful anthology meant just for you. Our past guests have been invited back to contribute yet again to this Series 2. We do this quarterly anthology. We will be doing this after our 200 episode milestone. As of this last quarter, we reached 200 episodes, and past that, get up and get a copy immediately. This is the only TV show on earth for creative writers, and our guests are amazing. They're also community activists building from the ground up. This program is for everybody out there who is a creative mind. Order several copies if you can and donate to local libraries. Give them to your friends, cousins, fans, supporters, anybody that you think loves poetry. And it's not just poetry in this book. Remember, this is creative mind. So we have prose, fiction, short stories, essays, artwork, anything you can think of, artistically creative, photographs. Everything in this book is packed. It is packed. It is just absolutely packed. If you want to get your hands on it now,
Keep watching. The Politics.